Hey, everyone. Hi. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Alice.
Hey now.
Greg, what are you doing here?
Hey, what do you mean? Allison,
Where'd you come from, Greg?
I came from the world of Childish, and I just want to make sure that your listeners know that you're just as wonderful on the other podcast you do.
What if they don't have kids?
Don't need them. You don't need them. A lot of our listeners actually tell us they don't have kids. We talk about sex.
We talk about all sorts of dirty stuff, but also parenting stuff.
Yeah, so.
Check out Childish. New episodes every Wednesday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Maybe I should have gotten fixed. Allison Rosen is your new best friend. Allison, with her good times never end. Allison Rosen, doing the wavy let's dance again. Allison's your new best friend.
Hey, everyone. Hi. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. I am very excited to bring in my guest today, and I will bring her in a moment. But first, I must catch up with producer, self-professed, self-proclaimed bad boy of podcasting. Self-proclaimed, because he said that it was a self-proclaimed title the last time we talked about it. So now he's self-proclaimed that it is proclaimed bad boy of podcasting. He's probably going to change his nickname soon because I am making it so uncomfortable. Tony Thaxton, how's it going? Hello.
It's going all right. I mean, it was said sarcastically, and now it's just really being run with. And
I mean, is anything really sarcastic when you think about it?
Yeah, I think so.
Fair. That's a fair point. Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to say yes and I had to just know that one.
I've been getting a real no but energy from you lately. Do we need to discuss the time that I sat there waiting for a drop and you just left me hanging so that I didn't become too dependent on your predictability?
You don't need to remind me. I'm well aware, and it could come back at any time.
Oh no, I love it though. I love being on the edge of my seat, just like this. So our guest, who we're going to bring in a moment, is someone who both of us are quite familiar with seeing on television from when we were young.
Mm-hmm.
And a weird thing is happening to me, Tony, which is, and I've been doing this podcast for years now. It's not like I've never been around a well-known person. Mm-hmm. However, in my head, and once out loud I keep wanting to refer to her as her character name. And it's making me feel like a real just newbie who doesn't understand the difference between what I see on the little screen and reality. And I don't think of I'm sophisticated. I'm worldly. I've been around. I've been there before. So why is my brain doing this to me? And by the way, this is not... I realize I'm raising the stakes. Now the listener is invested. They're like, ooh, is she going to put her foot in her mouth this way? And that is not why I'm doing it. I really think I will get through the whole show without doing that. I'm just afraid that I'm going to.
I think you got this. Because once you introduce her, once you introduce the guest, how often are you actually then saying their name again after that?
Like, more than you would think. Because sometimes I will refer to them as their full name. And I remember Doug Benson, I just said his full name, but I needed to in this story, told me that he had a theory that only psychopaths do that. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, Doug Benson. Allison Rosen doesn't know what Doug Benson is talking about. I don't know. It's just because I think of them as their full name, except that I think of this guest as Stephanie. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. Now,
wish you luck.
Thank you very much. Now, because we are now on a streak of us having guests on the show, and then it turns out afterwards that you had a personal relationship, and I don't mean a romantic relationship, but I just mean you knew them ahead of time, and you neglected to tell me. Do you and Jodie Sweetin, that is her real name, do you know her?
We have never met. I know her from my TV. I watched very much when I was a kid, but right. Yeah.
Everyone watched TGIF.
Oh, yeah.
You had to. Okay. Everyone, please put your hands together for actor, author, director, mom, podcast host, and for one night only late night TV host, because she is doing a show called Your Late Night Tonight, where she's putting on her own late night show, and that'll be on the 19th. Please put your hands together for Jodie Sweetin. Hey! Hello. Welcome to the show. Do people call you Stephanie?
They only make that mistake once. No, I'm just kidding. No, totally kidding. I mean, every once in a while people will, but I think most of the time, like my friends and stuff, my friends usually didn't watch the show. So that was, yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel like I said, I feel like a real idiot. I'm not the kind of person who normally makes this kind of mistake.
But I mean, it's not like I was this character for 8 years when we were a kid, and it's stuck in your mind as a kid. It was Stephanie, and then, you know, coming back to Fuller years later. It's not like I haven't been the character of Stephanie for quite a long time in people's minds.
Well, that is very generous of you to make me feel better about my dumb mistake.
Yeah, no, don't beat yourself up. Not over that. There's big things.
Yeah, there's other. Right. We'll get into that. So I've had Bob Saget on the show a number of times, and he always speaks so highly of you.
Oh, I love Bob. I adore him. He is just has the biggest heart. He's a really, really good guy.
Yeah, it seems like you guys all had like a real familial relationship.
Oh, absolutely. We're super close. Like it's family. I mean, we've been in each other's lives now for 35 years. I mean,
crazy.
We're not getting rid of anybody. You know what I mean? At this point.
But I was listening to you on an episode of his show, and you guys were talking about how you've stayed in touch this whole time, except for there was a period of time where you both kind of detached. And I was wondering, what was that period?
I don't know. I think it might have been like my mid-20s when I was just kind of doing my thing and like, you know, off being an asshole as you are in your mid-20s. Yeah. And I think it wasn't like I ever lost contact to the point where I was like, oh, we could never talk again. It was like, we just hadn't. Well, now we do pretty well at trying to get together for dinners and see each other every so often. And, you know, of course, working together. But I think there was just a period there where everyone was busy doing other things. And it just kind of, you know, 6 months turned into a year, turned into like 2, 3, and we hadn't gotten all together in a long time. So yeah, it was nothing like bad. It was not like a falling out or anything. It was just that like sort of life gets busy. You get in your mid-20s and you're completely self-obsessed sort of.
Right. Was there a period of time where you thought you were not going to return to acting?
Yeah. I mean, right before Fuller House came back, you know, I had been working a normal job for the previous like 6 years. I was a director of operations for some different drug and alcohol treatment facilities in LA, and was doing that and, you know, just chugging along, being a normal person, and actually was pitching the show. You know, I would ask for time off of work to go pitch Fuller. And then everything completely changed again. So I never said I didn't want to do it anymore. I just was like, look, I got to find something else to do with my life that makes me happy. I can't keep just saying I'm an actor, but not auditioning and not really doing anything. You know, it's time to make a decision. So yeah, so I did and had kind of just decided I was going to be a quote unquote civilian.
How was that?
I loved it. I was really happy, you know. I'm pretty easygoing and can kind of. I'm one of those bloom where you're planted kind of people. So I loved it. Actually, I met my boyfriend that I now am with. He and I were friends years ago. I have met some of the closest friends in my life from working in treatment. So it was nice, you know, it was like normal people stuff. It was weird sometimes for clients who would be like, wait, aren't you that girl from Full House? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, why are you here? And I was like, because I work here. And they were like, right, but why? I don't know. No. But yeah, I liked, you know, normal life is nice too. Having some anonymity sometimes is nice.
You said something which I thought was so insightful. You said humans don't change anything until they're terribly uncomfortable, which is something that a therapist I had years ago would say something very similar to that. And I was just, and when I first heard it from her, I was like, oh, that's so wise. I wouldn't have put that together on my own. How did you come by that insight?
Personal experience. I mean, truly, I don't think I ever had a therapist or anybody say that. I just know from my own experience and the experience of others, the only time when we go to make radical change is when things are radically uncomfortable. You know, nobody decides that they want to go completely uproot their life and try something brand new when everything's going along just swimmingly. And they're like, no, I'm happy. You know,
Right.
It's usually when you're like, oh my God, like you're faced with some pretty, I mean, in my experience, some pretty dire circumstances, you know, before people are like, okay, I guess we got to change something, you know, not until we lose relationships and lose jobs and things. Often do people get sober, not until, you know, a relationship is absolutely falling apart. Do people decide to break up? Like we don't make these decisions until it sort of becomes untenable and we have to.
So you wrote a memoir, Unsweetened. What year did that come out?
2009.
2000. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know.
You were
Like,
due for a follow-up.
that's what everyone says, and I even say it, but I'm like, oh man, another one. I don't know if I'm done with my stories yet, but at the same time, I'm like, well, maybe there's a round 3. I don't know, because I have a lot of news stories to tell, and it might be nice to get the news stories out there because you know I left off 2009 and I was kind of just getting myself together, and now it's been a while. You know, now it's been. You know, a long time. I mean, 12 years. So I have news stories to tell about where I'm at now.
Yeah. But do you mind talking a little bit about where you were then?
No, not at all.
So go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, yeah, it was interesting. 2009 was definitely, not when it came out in 2009, that was definitely not my worst year. But you know, it was the time when I finally kind of felt ready to share my story, and I'm glad I did. But yeah, I think my story has definitely changed since then.
So I was wondering, there's sort of a famous story in the book about you kind of going on, you had been up for days, and then you give a speech at a university about sobriety, even though you're not sober. And in the middle of it, you start crying. And, you know, you think the audience will probably think this is just you being overcome with emotion over the, you know, what you've been through. But really, it was like this breaking point. But you talk about at one point, you knew, even though you were you had been sober, you knew you weren't done with all of it. You weren't done with the partying and the drugs and all that. And I was just, that moment specifically, I was just curious how, like, can you describe that, what was going on then and how you knew you weren't done with it?
I just knew I wasn't, you know, I hadn't conceded to my innermost self that every time I was going to attempt to, like, you know, just have a glass of wine with dinner, that wasn't my intention. I never thought that was a good idea. I never understood why you would drink one glass of wine. And like, until I really admitted that to like the deep down person inside, I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm trying to fool myself. I'm trying to tell myself that somehow I have another intention other than just going and being an idiot. You know what I mean? And so once I finally got to that point, I was like, oh, yeah, no, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, that sounds awful, you know? And it just, I was all of a sudden willing to do the changes that I needed to on myself in order to, you know, really, again, be ready to make those radical changes that I had to make to my life because I was really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was thinking about my own experiences of that, where I would, because I went through a period, I don't think it was definitely not as well known as yours at all, but and maybe not the same level of lows, but my own version of like this constellation of behavior that just made me hate myself. It was substances, it was you know, chasing after or not breaking off relationships with guys who I knew were bad for me. It was staying out late. It was like self-destruct, just all this stuff that I was just like, I'm having a lot of fun, but I also really can't stand who I am in the morning.
Right.
And I would say, oh, I'm not going to call him. I'm done with this. I'm not that.
I'm not doing this again.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, 2 drinks in, I am texting this guy and I'm doing all these things. And I think it was the voice that was saying, I'm not going to do that. I'm done with that, was the one that knew that that was the right thing to do.
Right.
I guess similarly, I just wasn't there yet. Like I wasn't done playing this game or whatever you want to call it.
It takes what it takes. And people are done when they're done. And sometimes what one person's done looks like is not what another's looks like. So, some people have to learn harder and harder lessons. And then of course you turn around and have kids and you go, oh my God, I've learned all the hard lessons. Please don't let them have to learn any hard lessons. Like, let this all be easy.
Yeah.
Then it becomes terrifying to watch your kids have to go through all that.
How old are you have 2 girls?
13 and 11.
How is that? I have 2 boys. They're 4 and 2.
Oh boy. 13 and 11. It's an age that is difficult most of the time, but also has like these really cool moments where you're like, oh, you're going to be kind of a cool adult. Like you see all of a sudden them getting like their more adult sense of humor or like their sarcasm or their personality of like who they are and who they're becoming.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so awesome to watch. Like I love watching my girls play sports or do theater or like really throw themselves into the things that they love and like hang out with their friends and like laugh and, whatever, just grow up. Like I enjoy seeing that. But at the same time, like those ages also come with, all of the hell that is rumored of the tween middle school teenage years. And it's only just begun.
And there's also supposed to be, well, I know this because I was a 13-year-old girl and I have a mom. The rivalry between the daughter and the mom, what is that like? Because I thought I really I was like blown away by the fact that I was having a boy. I was like, what? But I was so 100% sure it was going to be a girl. And I had, our lives together planned out in my head. And one of the things people would say when they found out I was having a boy and that I seemed like not super, of course, right now, I can't imagine having any children other than who mine are, but they'd be like, oh, but boys love their mom. It's going to be so much easier, da, da, da. So what is that like?
Right. It is. There's definitely, I mean, my 13-year-old is 5'9". Okay. She's about 4 inches taller than I am. And she's been and she has been taller than me since about 6th grade now. She's tall. She's gorgeous. She's 13 and she, it just is constantly like checking her rank in the pack. You know what I mean? It's like when you see like packs of wolves and there's like always like that teenage asshole wolf that's like kind of trying to like, start shit with the adults, but then like eventually they just kind of give up because they're like, oh, I got really worked. You know what I mean? But they keep trying. They keep trying. And that's kind of where we're at is like, she tries to kind of come at me and be like, oh, I'm bigger than you. But I'm like, look, buddy. I've got 26 years of experience on this earth before you. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be just fine. But my 11-year-old is kind of just now getting into it. Like it happened the other day where we had an argument and all of a sudden I was like, oh no, it's got you too. Like it just was... It was like the way she was like exasperated with me and was just like, you don't get it. You're like, just so, oh my God, would you just leave? Just like go out of my room, and you're like, oh, you were the good one. No, you know what I mean? Like you're kind of like, oh man, there's just only going to be more of this.
Right. Did you always want to have kids?
I did. Boy, was I stupid. No, I haven't. I love being a mom. I love my kids. But there's no like handbook of parenting. There is no, every day I'm like, I really thought I knew how to handle this better and I don't. So I always knew I wanted to have kids. I love being a mom. But I definitely sometimes am like, I really wish I'd had a little more, I don't know, babysitting experience even. Like I would, something.
Mm-hmm. Had you done any babysitting?
No, I didn't.
Right.
I hadn't done babysitting. I mean, I was working on the show when I was about that age, and then I was in high school and like in theater and doing, still kind of working here and there. So it was like I never really had to do babysitting.
Right.
So it was a big adjustment. When I thought about it, I was like, I'd been around kids as a kid. I had been around a lot of kids.
Right. That's what I was thinking. There were babies on set, but you were so young at the time.
Yeah, but
too.
I was like 7 or 8 myself. So, yeah, it was like and it's just a wild thing. I mean, you can relate when they hand you babies and go here, and then you leave, and that's it. Yeah, I just feel like
I know.
Someone should. Is there a check? Should I do something? I need to register this baby. Something I don't know, like the extended warranty. What do I do? Because no one's checking.
Yeah. I know for me, the second one was so much easier because at least the rhythm of sleep, eat. I feel like there's a third thing. Play a tiny bit, just the rhythm of
right.
of a baby.
They move around like station to station. They go to the nap station, to the tummy time station, to the high chair station, to the napping station.
It's right. It's sort of like knowing a song. Like I kind of knew the structure of it with the second one. With the first one, it was like learning the entire. Yeah. For me, the adjustment to motherhood was, some would say effortless. No, I'm just kidding. It was the opposite of that. It was hard.
Yeah, it is hard. It's hard for everyone. And I think, well, one of the things that I like to do on my podcast, never thought I'd say this, is my best friend Celia and I talk about the hard stuff, the stuff that like nobody prepares you for, the stuff that you're like, I have no idea how to handle this conversation, or that, and we talk about it. And we talked about, becoming moms and being like, when you first become a mom, you're kind of like, oh, got it. Okay. So this is it, right? Like this is just, and now and until I die, and it's terrifying because all of a sudden, like the weight and responsibility of another person's life is on your shoulders constantly.
Yes.
And you're constantly questioning yourself, I'm doing a terrible job. I'm not giving them enough attention. I left them in the, high chair too long. I did whatever. Yeah. I'm not reading them enough French before they're 2. I don't know. Like stupid shit, where you just like constantly think that you're not doing it right. And there is no right. So nobody is.
Something I find myself struggling with now with my 4-year-old is trying to figure out how much do I get involved, and like if he's struggling with something, what's my role? Do I just let him work it out?
Yeah, that doesn't go away. I still do that particularly with my younger one. Like I said, my older one is much more together, but I get it, man. Like trying to be like, do I help you unfrustrate yourself? Or like, do I just let you get frustrated and kind of cry it out? Like what,
Which side of that do you tend to err on, would you say?
I tend to err. Well, again, it depends on the kid. My older daughter, because she's always been fiercely independent and like from the time she was in preschool was like, I don't need your help dressing me. I've got my own fashion ideas. I don't need you. I got this. I always sort of figured she was just a little like she's got it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And my younger one, I think, because she's just smaller in stature, and also she's the younger one, and she milks the shit out of it. She is the baby all day long. I do more for her. Like we were building a gingerbread house the other day. Now she's in 6th grade, okay, and we're building a gingerbread house, and it's she's wanting to build it, and I'm taking over. And I'm like, no, you're doing it wrong. Like, no, just here, let me do it. What? She's like, Mom, my boyfriend's standing there and he goes, babe, just walk away. Just let her build the gingerbread house. And I was like, okay, I'm going to sit here. And then it was like sitting next to her. I couldn't not touch it. Like I couldn't not say anything. And I'm like, oh my God, I've become my mother. And this is so obnoxious. Like I had to go and sit across the room on the couch and pretend like it wasn't happening. Cause I I do. I'm like, no. Let me do this. And then I'm like, wow, I'm raising inept humans, you know? And judging by the state of their room, I haven't done them any favors. So.
I get that so much. You know, remember at the beginning of the pandemic, everyone was baking bread. So I thought this will be like a fun activity I can do with my then, God, I guess he was like 2 at that point. Then 2-year-old. And I found the most frustrating thing to do is to cook anything with a 2-year-old. Like I couldn't wait till Daniel, my husband, just distracted him so I could just like do it correctly.
Right. Yeah.
And the whole thing,
eggshells in there. But the thing is, you gotta let them do it right. Otherwise, they'll never know how to do it. But you're like, but they're gonna always do it wrong.
But I didn't. And the thing is, I didn't even want bread. The whole thing was supposed to be a project for him.
Yeah. Exactly. Same with the gingerbread house. Like it's always a project for them, and then inevitably it goes wrong, and that is your fault. You know. How much do they know of your career, and do they think you're cool because of it? No, they don't think I'm cool. They don't think I'm cool at all. I'm mom. I'm so lame. Like so lame. I took my younger one to the mall the other day to go meet up with some of her friends, but she was like, "You could just drop me off." I was like, "You no, that's not happening." I was like, "I will go with you into the mall. I want to meet your friends." And then I will find a chair to sit in, you know, outside of the store or whatever. And you guys can go shop and come check in with me, whatever. Well, as we're walking up to meet her friends, which, by the way, I got strict instructions for. Okay, so when she comes up, I'm going to need you to, like, just not walk towards us. But, like, I'm going to go say hi and, like, start talking to her. And then, like, I'll just kind of turn around and be like, oh, yeah, and that's my mom. But like, don't really say too much. I was like, are you serious right now? I was like, I've introduced myself to human beings for 39 years. I've got it. I'll figure it out. She was like, yeah, but then you're like going to say something. And I was like, yeah, like, hello. You know, that's really about it. I don't have much to talk about with the 11-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to overrun the conversation. And then I commented on something in a store window. I was like, oh, I like those shoes. I like, you know, Mom, only like lame old ladies comment on stuff. Like, that's such a mom thing to do, is to say you like things in the store window. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm at the mall. What the hell else am I supposed to do but walk by windows and be like, oh, that's some nice shit in the window? You know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm here. She was like, well, can you just like not do it out loud? It's such a lame mom thing. And I was like, you know what? Just go walk 6 feet ahead with your friends. It's fine. Just go there. I'm going to sit in a chair. You know? Yeah, I am not cool. My career is not cool. They don't watch my show. I think really craft service was the only reason that they came on Friday nights to the show. Yeah, they're not impressed by it. I'm still mom. I yell at them. I make them do their homework and clean up their rooms and take away their phones. No, I'm not. I'm lame.
I can remember so viscerally that feeling of being just embarrassed by everything. I was embarrassed to have parents, like everything they did.
My dad still does embarrassing shit, so I still feel that. But like, but my dad's also 86, and he's like, I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm old. It doesn't matter now. But yeah. Oh, my parents used to say that my mom was like, you know, you act like you hatched, like you just like you just came from an egg and had no parents, and just, you know, here you are. And I'm like, oh. You know, and she'd be like, you're walking 10 steps ahead of me. I was like, yeah, I know. You know, it's like, of course I am. Like, I don't want to be seen with you, woman. You know, I was just so embarrassed.
Was one of your parents on set with you?
Yeah, my mom was always with me. She drove me back and forth every day, and she was always on set with me. So my mom and I had a really close relationship through the years, because we just spent hours of time in the car driving from Orange County to LA every day.
I'm from Orange County. Where in Orange County are you from? I know you went to Chapman.
I went to Chapman, and my parents still live in like Seal Beach,
okay,
Los Alamitos area. I went to La Salle High School, but I lived in Cypress for a little while, and then we moved to Los Alamitos in Seal Beach.
Nice. I'm from a little further down south, Corona del Mar, and then I went away to college, and then I came back and lived in Costa Mesa.
Okay, yeah. Just like South Coast Plaza was, you know, a big place to go on the weekend. That That like when you know, just went to malls. I mean, I guess my kids still go to malls.
So
Thing.
this is the next comment is a hyper local comment for our Orange County to LA listeners. But when I was growing up, my mom would always say LA is an hour and 15 minutes away, because back then I feel like for us, that's how long it took. And now the same distance takes like an hour 40 because there's always traffic.
Oh, the traffic has gotten so much worse. We used to drive. So when I was doing the show, the producers actually let me go to regular school in the morning. So I went to public school. I went to elementary school. We only worked 4 days a week. So Mondays I went to school all day, and then Tuesdays and Wednesdays I went to school until lunch, and then came in. My mom would pick me up, right around noon, and then I'd be on set about 1 o'clock for rehearsal, and we'd work until like 5:30 or 6, and whatever. And then Thursdays and Fridays I was schooled on set, but I did get to have like a foot in regular life, and it was very regular life. Like I said, I always went to public schools. It was just normal kid life. And
was that your choice, or did your parents want that?
I wanted to do it, and my parents, I think there were a lot of reasons actually. One was traffic. My mom was like, hey, does it make sense for her to just go to her regular school in the morning instead of me having to get her there by 8 a.m.? We'd have to leave at 6. Scheduling wise, they were like, oh yeah, just that's fine. They couldn't work me that long, so the later they brought me in, the better. But it would take us 45 minutes. We could go from Seal Beach, which is right next to Long Beach. It's barely Orange County. 45 minutes up the 405 when we were shooting in Culver City, and then it was about 55 minutes when we were shooting at Warner Brothers in Burbank. So, it was always right around an hour or less. And now I will go down to visit my parents driving from, here in LA to Orange County, and it's a good hour and a half.
Yeah. It's crazy.
On a Sunday when I'm like, where are all of you people going and why?
Right.
Yeah.
And Saturday is it might be the worst day of the week. Actually, I don't know. I haven't tried during the weekday, but I'm always stunned by like, what? It's Saturday. Why does it feel like rush hour all day?
Oh, it's so bad. Yeah. Anyway.
No, this sounds like that SNL California sketch.
And then I took that 405 to the 105 and then that.
So what was that like having like going to regular school and then also being on this show at the same time? How were you treated?
Well, it had its pluses and minuses. I did have like some just regular friends, so it was nice. I wasn't like sheltered from the real world and from the experience of other kids who weren't in this business. You know what I mean? I had a bit of a reality check, which I'm incredibly grateful for. But at the same time, growing up on a show that most of your peers are watching, is sometimes a bit difficult. Kids get weird about it. They either get like super ridiculously overexcited that you're in their class and like won't leave you alone, or they won't leave you alone because they're just making fun of you or bullying you. And, and I remember I used to, kind of come back at kids. They'd be like, oh, I saw you on this show. I was like, you watched it. I just did it. So I got paid to do it.
So cool.
It. Yeah. And I was, because I was like, look, if you're going to make fun of me and you're going to quote last week's episode, you're just telling me that you watched the show.
Right.
So why are you making fun of me? You know what I mean? Like it was difficult at times, but I also really enjoyed the experience of just being a normal kid sometimes and like going to the school library that smelled a little weird, but like being excited to go listen to story time or whatever with the librarian, or like, just stuff that as a kid in this business, you don't often get because you are kind of isolated and you grow up in this adult world of work. And, the only other kids that you relate to are kids that are doing what you're doing. And so it gives you this kind of warped sense of what real life is, I think. And so I was always really grateful. And I think it has made me a huge piece of who I am today, as far as like just being really grounded and like really not into the scene type stuff. And I'm just grateful for that because I realized like what real life is.
Yeah, I mean, I think you answered this a little bit, but I wanted to ask because you said that you're really thankful that like having, real friends not in the industry gave you a reality check that you're thankful for. And I'm wondering, without that reality check, what do you think how would it have been different?
I think, it's hard to say because at times having that bit of reality and being, quote unquote normal kid, I wasn't entirely, I did have this other weird life and this job and this notoriety. So, as much as I was having a normal experience, I wasn't just a kid blending in the class.
Right.
So that causes some upheaval of feeling like kind of isolated because you're like, nobody else that I know here really gets this, but at the same time, like I know that had I just sort of been wrapped up in the bubble of set life and set school and not being around peers my age and all of that, I think I wouldn't have had some of the normal experiences, the sleepovers and the, like just normal stuff. Even the catty, bullshit of middle school girls. Like you gotta experience it, right? Like you kind of have to deal with it and be like, and eventually then you have kids of your own and you go, oh, guess what? I survived it. I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't had that experience. It would have felt like I never, like somehow I missed out on real life,
And did Candace and the Olsens, were they not doing regular school? And if not, like how did that affect how you guys all got on the set?
We had different teachers because we were all, at first, Ashley Mary Kate really didn't start school until the last like 2 seasons of the show. So they just had a nanny. So they weren't in with me. And then Candace was schooled. She had a private tutor on set, but she was in like 5th grade when we started. So she was always in a different classroom because she had like, once she got to middle school, we had the same teacher for the first couple seasons, me and Candace and Andrea. But then once they got to middle school, I was still in elementary. So they had a different teacher that focused on different subjects and than I did. So, it was a little bit different, but we all had some experiences at normal school, on hiatus weeks or on Mondays and stuff. Like we all had a little bit of experience of it, but I think I was the most regular in my like normal school attendance.
Right. Let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, I want to talk to you about directing. Pack your bags for the trip of a lifetime in The Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, streaming only on Peacock. This new original exclusive is the Real Housewives crossover that fans and Tony have been asking for. Finally, you can see 7 iconic housewives from 4 different cities together in one place, including Cynthia Bailey and Kenya Moore from Atlanta, Kyle Richards from Beverly Hills, Teresa Giudice and Melissa Gorga from New Jersey, and Ramona Singer and Luann de Lesseps from New York City. I think I butchered her last name, even though I'm a real Countess Luann fan. With a crew like that, what could possibly go wrong? As any Real Housewives fan knows, the girls' trips are legendary. Watch these housewives enter into uncharted territory as they vacation poolside in their stunning Turks and Caicos villa. This trip will not disappoint. See this exclusive crossover event now and watch new episodes every Thursday. Plus, stream more of your reality favorites on Peacock, including all past seasons of The Real Housewives, hit movies and shows, exclusive originals, live sports, news, and more. Go to peacocktv.com to sign up. Again, that's peacocktv.com to sign up. Speaking of fun, I want to tell you guys about Switchcraft. Switchcraft is it's like a novel new take on the Match 3 game. I was playing it on my phone. I'm super duper into it. It's got a compelling TV worthy storyline that is keeping me on the edge of my seat. And then it also has, it has like periodic Match 3 games, but they're woven into the story. It's really creative. Match 3 games can be a lot of fun, but it seems like most of them are the same. The themes and characters change, but overall it's the same boring format until now. Switchcraft is a brand new take on Match 3 games. As you play, you unlock pieces of a beautiful, magical, and gripping graphic novel about witches, you guys. Switchcraft is a mobile game with a unique blend of TV-worthy writing, choose-your-own adventure-style narrative, and thousands of Match 3 levels. In Switchcraft, you take on the role of a witch at Pendle Hill, the world's top academy of witchcraft. Tony, you graduated from there, didn't you?
I do. I don't talk about it often, but I did, yeah.
Is that
with honors?
Oh, wow. Now, you're not talking about it. Is that something? Is it like the first rule at Pendle Hill is you don't talk about graduating with honors from Pendle Hill?
Well, even if it were, I wouldn't be able to tell you that.
Ugh, I hate how much honor you have. Along the way, you'll find unique characters, a gripping story, and even a little romance. The best part is that your choices in the game determine the outcome of the story, so you're in the driver's seat. Download Switchcraft for free and unlock the magical mystery. Again, download Switchcraft for free and unlock the magical mystery. Okay, we're back. So I know that you directed an episode of Fuller House.
I did.
What was that experience like?
It was incredible. I had wanted to direct for a long time, and it had been something that I had really doubted myself about. Like, I felt confident that I could do it, but then when it finally came, the season that I was going to do it, I was like, oh my God, maybe I can't do this. And when I did, it was just kind of second nature. Like, I didn't realize how comfortable I would be in that position. I thought I would be more rattled. And I was like, you know what? Actually, working in treatment, having a normal job as a director of operations and having to have a staff of, 75 or 100 people under me and deal with all manner of, of crazy fires to put out and, all sorts of stuff. It kind of, some of those skills that I really developed in that arena also came into play, and, I was like, oh, wow, I don't know if I would have been as good at this had I not had like maybe a normal experience of it, or just not as confident. But the directing was, I loved it. I had so much fun with it. I had such a great crew. I mean, the crew on Fuller House was so wonderful. They, we worked together all so well. And everyone was genuinely excited and happy for me. So, it was a really awesome experience to get to have, to direct your first episode, but to direct it with people that are like your family and who are so excited, and a crew that just absolutely supports you. I mean, they had a whole wild thing where everybody signed this director's chair, which is actually sitting in my office, with Mr. Bear in it. I just picked up my computer and I knocked. But everybody had signed my director's chair, and they lowered it down from the from the rafters in the kitchen.
Oh my God.
This big ceremony that was a total surprise to me. And they were all just so happy. And it was, I felt so good about it. And I walked away from it and I was like, yeah, I definitely want to do this more. And that was the plan. And then 2020 hit, and then and then womp womp. Yeah. So so that was put on hold for a little while, but I'm definitely going to start getting back into it. Cause it's something that I want to do that I think I'm really good at. And I enjoy it,
What are the skills, like if you were to put it into words, what are the skills that are required to be a good director?
You have got to be a people person. Like, you have to have great interpersonal skills, which is interesting because you hear horror stories about directors that have none and that are pretty terrible. And look, they do some masterful work and whatever. I am a person that thinks if you want to have a career and really enjoy your career, you have to be able to talk to your actors a certain way, to each actor a certain way. Every person is, you've got to have communication with your crew. You've got to, your crew has to know that you give a shit about them and that you're working with them and that they're not working for you, but that you're all working on creating this together. And also just a sense of rhythm for sitcom in particular. It's interesting. We had a couple directors that came in because they would rotate out directors for Netflix shows. And we had a couple directors that came in that came from like either single cam world where it wasn't like a multicam sitcom where you've got, 3 or 4 cameras, or more dramatic stuff or, something different that wasn't sitcom. And you could feel it in their directing style because sitcom has a very, it's got a clip to it. There's a, line joke, line joke. Like, there's an up and down to it and it's fast paced and it's all that. And, if you get a director that can't see what that rhythm is, and there's a lot of movement in sitcom, more so than other shows. So you're constantly wanting to cross people and move people so that there's, movement happening on screen. And like, you get single cam people and they're like, everyone's just going to stand there or sit there. And you're like, that doesn't play as well in a sitcom. So, it's really knowing kind of the genre that you're working in and finding that rhythm and being able to work with people in order to bring the best out in them.
Was that frustrating working with directors when you felt like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds as if you understood the format better than they did?
No, and look, here's the thing. It was more so that, and it's also hard when you switch directors and you get somebody for like a week and you're like, I like so-and-so better because we've done 6 weeks together. But it's, and the thing is that's nice sort of about being an adult now in this business and on the show was that, we had input. So it was like, if we felt like something just wasn't working, we'd be like, hey, let's try this. And we were trusted enough as sitcom actors to know what would work. And I mean, it was funny because we would like all fall into a scene and just run it through on set. And we'd kind of almost block ourselves sometimes because it was like, you just sort of knew where you had to be for your shots. You knew where you had to play certain beats. Like you knew you had to move or make a cross or go around the counter or whatever. And it just became like second nature a little bit. But it, we had some great directors and, sometimes there's directors that you're like, oh, this is just not working. And, and I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever had a director that I've greatly disliked. Just ones that I was like, all right, maybe this isn't for you.
And that was actually something I was going to ask when you were saying like you hear of directors with bad people skills. I was wondering, have you ever dealt with a director who's been real, like on any, not necessarily Full House or Fuller House, but like across the board, someone who was real tough to be around?
No, I'm a pretty easygoing person and I am pretty good at disarming people and kind of, figuring out how to best communicate with them. Rarely is there someone on set that like I just don't get along with. Cause it's just that my nature is I'm like, let's just like have fun. We all got to be here. We're all doing work. We're doing incredible fun work that like people would love to do. And we get to do this for fun and for a living. Like this is awesome. So I just kind of go with the flow and try to have fun wherever I'm at. But I do know that, I've talked to people who've worked on certain productions and I hear horror stories and I'm like, yeah, that's not me. Nor has it, like I said, really happened around me. I think just because I'm like, I'm not gonna get, bogged down with somebody else's bad attitude.
Right. Okay, let's take another quick break. And then when we come back, we have questions from listeners. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. We talk about BetterHelp a lot on this show, and this month we are discussing some of the stigmas around mental health. For example, some people think they should wait until things are unbearable to go to therapy, but that isn't true. Therapy is a tool to utilize before things get worse, and it can help you avoid those lows. And also, many people think therapy is for so-called crazy people. Okay, look, I'm laughing because we joke on this show. We have a drop of me going, I'm crazy. And also, like, I am a huge fan of therapy. Therapy has helped me personally so much. But anyway, there is a point. Like I am in a world where so many people I know avail themselves of therapy, have benefited from therapy, and are open to therapy. But I do know that there still is a stigma in certain places. And I would like to destigmatize it because I personally feel that everyone who's open to it can benefit from therapy. Therapy doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It means that you recognize that all humans have emotions and we need to learn to control them, not avoid them. I would say learn to regulate them. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. 2 of my friends are doing BetterHelp right now, and they love their therapist. Give it a try and see why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp online therapy. And you guys, Allison Rosen listeners, get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/bestfriend. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/bestfriend. And then I also want to tell you guys about Embark Vet. The Embark Breed and Health Kit is the best gift for your dog or your friend or family member who has a dog this holiday season. So the Embark Breed and Health Kit is one of, if not the most comprehensive dog DNA test on the market right now. It's just a cheek swab. It's very easy to do. We did it with Wendy. A lot of people who, if you have a mixed breed dog, it's fun because you find out in so much detail all the breeds that make up your pet. With Wendy, that's our dog, we knew she's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, so there was no surprise there. But there's also all this information you can get about diseases that she might be a carrier for, and just like there's the story that a dog's DNA tells. There's just a lot of it's interesting and it's fascinating, and the level to which you can find out things about your dog. And then also one of my favorite aspects of Embark is that you can be matched with dogs who are relatives of your dog. So, for example, Paddington, Violet, Nina, these are some dogs that are related to Wendy that I have found via Embark. It's pretty fun. This holiday season, understand your dog better with Embark, the highest rated dog DNA test. Right now, Embark has a limited time offer on their Breed and Health Kit and Purebred Kit for our listeners. Go to embarkvet.com to get free shipping and save $64 off with promo code BESTFRIEND. Visit embarkvet.com and use promo code BESTFRIEND to save $64 and get the perfect gift for a happy, healthy holiday. You guys, that is the lowest price of the season. It does not go lower. The $64 discount is the lowest price of the season. Visit embarkvet.com and use promo code BESTFRIEND to save $64 and get the perfect gift for a happy, healthy holiday. All right, we are back. So we have some questions that listeners sent in on Patreon and on Twitter. Did I just say I'm Twitter? I think I said I am Twitter and on Twitter. But I'm on Patreon, patreon.com/Allison Rosen. All sorts of bonus content and rewards and things like that. You can get bonus episodes of The Friend Zone. You can get videos of the Thursday show. There's a level where you can text me and I'll text you back. You can submit questions for the guests that get put in the very front of the line of questions. You can submit carbohydrates and I will call you them on the Thursday show. I realize to anyone who hasn't heard the Thursday version of the show, that's my group show, they don't know what I'm talking about, but still. And if you subscribe for a year, you get 2 months free. So 12 months for the price of 10. Okay, let's ask some questions.
When we ask, they send them in. They're wondering how you have been. So thanks so much for answering these questions from our fans.
Okay. Whitney C says, if she were a beverage, what would she be?
Whitney C.
Whitney C would like to know this.
I feel like grape Fanta is what I feel from a Whitney. Grape Fanta.
No. If you were a beverage, what would you be?
I was like, this is very strange. I don't know. It feels like a grape Fanta to me. No, if I got it. I would be. Oh, what would I be? If I were a soda, I would be. I'd be root beer. I love root beer.
What's your favorite kind of root beer?
I like root beer that comes in a glass bottle because I feel like the metal cans just it doesn't capture the flavor correctly. But
Yeah.
IBC is good, or there's what's the one? There's like a picture of a guy's face on the front of it.
I think I know what you mean. Barks?
Barks.
Yeah.
No,
Not
Barks
Barks.
is the one that's also in a can, which is good. But I think it's something else. But anyway, I'm going to go with root beer. I would be.
Okay.
Beer.
I like that. Courtney Hoffbauer says, what is the experience like revisiting a character you played as a child now as an adult? Did you approach it in a different way?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely approached it in a different way. You know, Steph had some layers going on to her. She had, she lived some life, and you don't very often get to come back and play a character that you played as a kid and then fill in all the blanks in between. So, and for me, Steph had a lot of backstory going on. Why she kind of left and toured the world and why she was avoiding responsibility. And, I don't think that was necessarily things that I brought to the table with me as a kid. As a kid, it was like, we have fun, and I know how Stephanie relates to these other characters, but the internal life of Stephanie was a lot different getting to come back.
Right. Have you taken a lot of have you done formal acting training?
Yeah. I mean, I have not in the last couple of years, but, because I was working and very grateful to be busy. But I have. I mean, I went to, I did high school and college and my early 20s, did a lot of Meisner technique and stuff like that. I loved acting class. It's such a great, I mean, I actually always toss around the idea. I'm like, I should go back to class, but I know right now is kind of hard to find in-person acting classes.
Right. I do wonder what that's like, because I know that there are acting classes happening over Zoom.
Yeah, I have a
weird to
friend
me.
that's been doing it, and I'm like, I hate Zoom. Like, I don't even like to Zoom my friends and like have a conversation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I hate it. Like, I was not the person that was on Zoom all the time in the pandemic. I was like, don't talk to me. This is an excuse. And they said that like doing Zoom acting classes over, the computer, it just is, it's different. It's distant. You're too busy looking at yourself and not the other person. And they're,
Totally.
I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, Tony and I talk all the time about how doing a podcast over Zoom is not the same. Although I feel like we are accepting it, and like I feel like there's been a number of good episodes. This one being the best of them all. But it is not the same. Obviously.
My podcast partner and I did we did like a year of them out of our closets. And we just started this season. We finally went back to in-person stuff. But yeah, it's, you're like, look, this is just the new world we live in though. No, right? Like Zoom is just the normal thing. And everyone's like, oh yeah, totally. I get it.
Yeah. I don't know. I keep thinking like, when am I going to stop doing Zoom? And I can't figure it out. But here's what I have to say about that. Right now, the numbers in LA are so low. And if it all of a sudden gets bad again, which I hope it won't, but if it does, I'm going to be kicking myself that I didn't take advantage of this lull right now. Because my kids are unvaccinated because they're so little.
Right. I know my younger one just got her first shot this weekend. So she's got one more left and I got to get a booster. But yeah.
Okay. Wendy Curtis says, I'd love to hear about her experiences with making Hallmark movies.
Oh, Hallmark movies. I mean, first of all, you have like 13 days to shoot a Hallmark movie. You shoot
Oh,
an entire
wow.
movie in like 13 days. They're usually crazy work weeks, long hours, lots of bows, lots of red and green and holiday decor, more than you've ever realized that any human being probably but they're great. You know exactly what the audience wants to see, what Hallmark wants to see. And I was actually just reading an article, I think it was in the LA Times, with Ron Oliver, who has directed a ton of Hallmark movies. And once you're in that family, like, it's so nice because you work with a lot of the same people again, and you see this. But he was talking about it too. He's like, look, Hallmark it's not too angry. It's not too sad. It's not too, this is not, it's a very, like, you have a pretty small little lane to stay in. So it's fun. You meet some great people, and you know that you're creating content that people are going to like, oh my God, I love this, because it's just, they're hungry for the exact formula that you're giving them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to worry that your audience is going to be like, this is lame. Like that, they want cheesy. They want
Right.
the couple to end up together. They don't want more than one kiss. They want that, it's all these weird unwritten Hallmark rules. But at the end of the day, I've had a great time, and I've shot a bunch up in Canada, so I've gotten to see, Canada and up different parts of the country up there that I never would have seen. So it's been nice.
Nice. Okay. This one is I think this one is going to be challenging.
Ooh.
Julie Bone says, if she could describe her experience as a child actress in 4 words, what would they be?
Time of my life.
Look at that.
That, first of all, did not seem that challenging for you, because you just like pulled. I mean, that was amazing. And I almost got chills. I think I did get chills. That was beautiful.
It really was. I was a kid who needed to be busy and active. My brain works 9,000 miles an hour, which
you learned to read at 2.5 or something crazy.
Yeah,
right?
I started reading really early. I skipped a grade in school. I was an only child, so I was always around adults. So I was more comfortable around older people. I loved it. I loved being busy. I loved traveling. I loved seeing, meeting new people and seeing all different kinds of people. It really opened my eyes to the diversity of the world in a much different way than I think I would have been exposed to, probably living where I did. I always look at it, I'm like, I grew up exactly how I needed to.
That's great. Alyssa Van Dyke says, what do you do to treat yourself well? Parentheses, I hate using the phrase self-care, but that's what I mean.
My boyfriend and I love massages. Like, I'm constantly like just a tight little ball of stress. So I will go to the Thai massage place by my house and go get an hour massage, for whatever, like $60. And it's the best thing ever. And that's, I don't go all the time. I go maybe once every couple weeks. But that for me is like a big piece of self-care. Also working out. As much as I am like lazy sometimes about it, during the pandemic, the one thing I did was, get a trainer and work out over Zoom at least twice a week. And then again, got a Peloton, because I find that for me is really necessary for my mental health. Mm-hmm. So, I know, like, when I don't work out for like a week, I start feeling like really crazy.
How was the experience of doing training over Zoom?
I loved it. I have a great trainer, and we had started working together again in person too. I actually am training with him tomorrow at 9. But it was great over Zoom. I could do it at home. I didn't have to travel anywhere. It was actually really nice. And now there are so many different platforms where you can do classes like that I actually love it. Like, I do yoga at home. I do, all kinds of stuff. Dance classes at home, like everything.
Oh, right. You have like a dance background, right?
Yeah, I do. So, I definitely like movement. And I think as I'm almost 40, like as I've gotten older too, I've appreciated it much more where I'm like, yo, you can still like move around and do stuff. Like you should keep doing that because it's not going to get any better.
Yeah. So your late night tonight, tell me about how you got involved and your feeling about it and all that.
Well, I have always wanted to host a show. I like hosting is something that I love doing. I love just getting to be myself. And particularly with your late night show tonight, they really have tailored it to my voice. And I became involved with Gil and Ben and all of the amazing writing staff when I did my friend Ben Glebe. I did his show. He and I met through the internet over 2020 and became friends. And I host social distance
Happy hour.
social club with them on Wednesdays. And he invited me to come and Ben Glebe invited me to do his episode of your late night show tonight because they have rotating comedian hosts every month. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I came on to do his, be his guest and do the interview. And we had such a good time. And like, we were being so ridiculous and so funny up there that the guys approached me at the end and were like, would you want to do your own? I was like, absolutely. So it's been great. I mean, we are writing sketches and they have, they basically had me write an entire page about like, who am I comedically? Like what makes me laugh? What do I love? What do I love to do? Who are my influences? All that kind of stuff. What do I watch? So, I did that. And last night was our third week in the writer's room on Monday nights. And then we've just been working material back and forth online and getting ready for this. So I'm really excited. It's going to be November 19th at 7:30 p.m. at nowherecomedyclub.com. You can buy tickets. So it will be streaming everywhere, 7:30 Pacific time. So, people can watch it from the comfort of their own home in their sweatpants.
Nice.
Watch the late night show.
But some of them are in person, right? Or are they streaming?
Some of them are. Well, we do I'm going to have a small audience of just some friends.
Oh, got it.
That I see day to day, anyway. That way there's a little bit of a live audience there, but we're doing it in a friend of mine's studio and then we'll be streaming it from there. So it'll be a small audience of, 15 or 20 friends, probably less than that. And then streaming out, all over the place. I have friends in Ireland that are watching and Scotland. And yeah, they're like, I'm getting up at 5:30 in the morning for this.
Are you nervous at all? Do you get nervous about stuff at all?
Last night I got nervous because we were talking about stuff and I was like, yeah, when we do the, with the prompter here for the monologue, but they were like, well, we don't usually do that. I was like, what?
They don't have a prompter.
What? I was like, that was my safety net. No. But, that's not like I can't memorize stuff, but it was,
but
that was like my binky, you know what I mean? I was like, if all goes wrong, that's there.
Do they have the big poster board with words on it?
Yeah,
or anything?
Look, it'll be something. And look, that's my job is to go perform this shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I got to do. And it'll be fine. I just am like, don't murder the jokes. Cause I have a tendency to do that sometimes in real life where I start telling the joke and then I'm like, where was I? I don't want to do that. So, yeah. But I'm so excited for it. And I'm excited too that people have been getting to see sort of a different side of me and who I am and a little bit more Jodie and not quite Steph, I have a pretty dark sense of humor. But I think I'm pretty funny. So it's nice for people to see that I can do more than just, have a hugging moment when violins play softly in the background.
So nowherecomedyclub.com is where they should go, right?
Yes, nowherecomedyclub.com. You can get your tickets. Again, the show is November 19th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, and it will be streaming through Nowhere Comedy Club, which is an online comedy club that the guys developed. But you can buy tickets anytime up till now. If you can go to my Instagram page too, and you'll see it posted on there as well.
And I'll link to it in the episode summary.
Oh, great.
So let's do some just me or everyone. This is where people write in with things they think or do, and they wonder, is it just me or is it everyone? If you want to submit your own just me or everyone, tweet it to @ARIYNBF. That stands for Allison Rosen is your best friend. Use the hashtag JMOE, just me or everyone. Let's do it.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me or everyone?
Okay. Jodie, do you have a just me or everyone?
I do. And I realized now as I've gotten older, I'm pretty sure this is a just me, but I want to see if there's anybody else out there. I had this weird thing as a kid where I would try and blink at every street light that we drove past. Let me tell you, on the freeway, that is very difficult. You're like trying to blink over and over again. But I used to do that as a kid, and I don't know. I don't know if that's like a weird kid thing. You know how they do weird stuff like that?
Yeah.
Or like if that was just some sort of like precursor to my anxiety disorder that I deal with. But, you know.
I do also. I've done all sorts of weird things in my life. I've never done that one.
Okay.
I've never done that one. I have done, this is not the same, but it's adjacent in that it involves eyes. Like if I'm working out, and I haven't done this in a while, and I also haven't worked out on a treadmill in a while, but I would be like running or walking on a treadmill, and I'm like, what happens if I close my eyes? I want to see like how long I can close my eyes. Yeah, but then I don't do it for very long.
No, you almost
hurt
shit.
myself.
That's
yeah.
I've almost gone flying off the back of a treadmill many times.
Right. Tony, what about you?
I do not do that. But for some reason, when you said it, it seemed vaguely familiar to me. Like, I feel like maybe I've heard of that before, but I can't.
I'm sure it's not just you.
Yeah.
I do it sometimes, but when I'm driving. No, I'm just kidding. Alex was like, okay. Hey, yeah, that's dangerous. No.
I think you could do it while you're driving, though, as long as you're not like keeping your eyes. Well, no, it would be very distracting.
Close your eyes when you drive.
But you could blink. You just can't keep it closed.
That's blinking is different than closing your eyes and seeing how long you.
Oh, I see. You were saying you do that sometimes when you're driving.
No,
I thought you were saying.
Blinking. Oh no, I was joking and saying that I also close my eyes.
Yeah.
Sometimes and see if I can keep going straight, but I do it in a car.
Got it.
Yeah, because that's what I was saying was that I feel like I've heard of the blinking thing before.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but it seemed weirdly familiar to me. I don't know.
Well, that makes me feel less weird that it's weirdly familiar.
I have a just me or everyone. I will, and maybe Jodie, you will relate to this just based on your recovery experience, but I will think back to who I was in my 20s, like a specific chunk of my life. And I was so different than I am now. And I want to like send a mass email to all those people just apologizing for who I was then. Like when I think about different conflicts that came up, like I couldn't take criticism. I was very defensive. I was just all these, mostly just in the way I related to people. Because now I pride myself on like, you know, my husband and I, if we can have like really productive disagreements where we hear each other's side and we both feel closer afterwards. And I was not capable of that at all then. And I also thought the way that I went through life was the right way. And I was so immature.
Right.
So I just want to mass email all of them, even though I feel like if I did that, they would probably be like, what? Like we all were like that then.
Right. That's, I mean, the great thing is that most of the things that you're totally horrified about in your life, other people don't remember because they're so self-obsessed and thinking of their own horrors that like other people's are so like, there's very few things that I'm like, oh my God, remember when that person fell down or did this like that? But I remember me falling down for sure because I was so embarrassed, but like nobody else remembers it.
Yeah. Tony, do you get the urge to mass email people? Do you even feel like you're a super different person than you were when you were in your 20s, or have you always been this guy?
No, definitely very different. I think unfortunately, I'll have those thoughts, and I think in some ways, yes, like I'll see these improvements that I'm like, oh yeah, I wasn't able to be like that when I was younger. But unfortunately, I think I focus on the bad stuff now that I think where I look back and I'm like, did I used to be like that? Like things that
like
bother
you should
me
said
about
it
now. And then like, cause I don't know, I feel like I've gotten more just like, I've always kind of been in my own head. But I feel like that's gotten way worse as I've gotten older. And I feel like I used to just be able to be a little more free and just have fun without overthinking it. And,
Right.
not so much these days.
So you need to send a mass email to everyone now.
Yes. In fact, let me get going so I can get working on that.
Can you imagine? That'd be such a weird bulk email to get.
I just want to send out a blanket apology for my 20s. That's why I wrote a book, really. No.
Yeah. Yeah. How did that go over with everyone around you? The book.
You know what? Everyone was just grateful that I was okay and like glad that I could be honest and tell my story. You know, I think I was probably more like worried about how it would land than anything, but no, it was fine. It's got, I mean, I'm so grateful that I still to this day hear from people who say they read it and it really helped them, or just hearing someone talk about their problems in an honest way, like just made them realize, you know, it's okay that something's wrong. It's so, you know, none of this is any failure on my part. It's just part of life. So, yeah, I was always really glad that I did it.
All right, let's do Hey Go Fuck Yourself. Jodie, is there anyone you have some words for?
There is. The people that I have words for are the people that the day after Halloween, not even after, like Halloween is on clearance before we've even gotten there. Like, I still might be like, hey, I need some Halloween decor. And it's Christmas now. It's Christmas from now until the January 17th. And those people, like, really, it's just, it feels aggressive in their celebrating. I feel like Thanksgiving is overlooked. I feel like it's ignored. You know, I feel like it's a little resentful at the other holidays. But like, I like my holidays in order. We do fall, Halloween, Thanksgiving, day after Thanksgiving, Christmas. My house looks like Christmas threw up. But I gotta say, to the overly aggressive early Christmas decorators,
Hey, go fuck yourself.
Nice. So
and I was gonna say, I also have to say the same.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
To me, for being a really judgy bastard over people just trying to find a small bit of joy in decorating the house early. So I actually got two people out of it.
See, the way I envision it, but this might just be, I might have had to just like arrive at this because of the early decorations. I feel like Thanksgiving and Christmas decoration wise are almost one, but you feel like Thanksgiving needs its own thing.
What?
I'm sorry to offend you. I feel like Thanksgiving decor is Christmas decor. What is Thanksgiving decor?
Thanksgiving decor is fall colors. It is November. It is not winter yet. It is fall leaves and oranges and yellows and reds. It is leaf peeping on the East Coast. That's what it is. It is fall, and it is ridiculously racist pilgrims. It is all, it is so many things. And then Christmas is just red and green and twinkle lights and everything. No, but I have a very distinct, I'm weird like that. Like, here's another thing about me. I won't drink pumpkin spice. I refuse to get an iced pumpkin spice latte. I maybe have had one time. For me, anything pumpkin flavored has to wait until the weather is cool enough that I can get a hot drink and like be wearing a sweater when I drink it. I'm not even kidding you.
I feel like that makes sense. That makes sense. But, and this I feel like is going to...
I don't want pumpkin spice in August.
See, that makes sense to me. However, I have a Christmas Starbucks mug and it just sits in my cabinet all year. Can you even stand it?
That's okay. That's fine. You don't use it all year.
Oh, no, I do. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know what I'm going to do with you. I don't know.
I'm so sorry. Do you have Thanksgiving decorations that you're going to get out?
They're already out. Thanksgiving is almost here. The day
just
after
offended her.
Halloween, that's when you remove the Halloween stuff
Right.
from the general fall decor, and then you put, my boyfriend makes fun of me about this, by the way, and then you put the Thanksgiving stuff out, which, has some more turkeys and things like that.
Okay.
And then after Thanksgiving, that weekend is when you clear all the fall out and winter wonderland arrives.
I mean, what
I
I'm
have
hearing.
2 trees. I'm obnoxious. Like
I have 2 trees too.
Yay. Okay.
Yeah.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah.
We guys, 6 trees between us.
We're so obnoxious.
What I'm realizing is I am just missing out on Thanksgiving decor. Like, I don't think you know what? My mother-in-law sent us a wreath of little pumpkins from like Williams Sonoma or something. And that was very fall. I don't know where it is though.
Dried leaves, cornucopias.
Yes. Horn of Plenties.
Yes.
Horns of Plenty. Tony, do you have Thanksgiving decor?
No, not one.
But you know what though? It came from my mother. My mom's house right now is Thanksgiving out. Like she puts me to shame, really, with the amount of decor and stuff she has, which I know someday will all be mine. But yeah, like, my mom decorated for every holiday, but the reason that I do it, my boyfriend's like, this is ridiculous. And he's like, you're such a, anti-capitalist, like consumerism. That's bullshit. Like, and I don't do gifts at Christmas, really. I do them for my kids, but that's it. I don't want gifts. I hate getting gifts. I don't like giving gifts. It just feels excessive. But like something about decorating for holidays, I fucking love it. I love it. Like
Me too.
it puts me in like the spirit. And I'm like, I own 2 Christmas trees. I think exchanging gifts is stupid, but 2 Christmas trees is not. So please get off my ass and let me have my joy.
Jodie, it was so nice getting to know you. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. I am going to I'm going to end this. And when I do, I'm going to go on the hunt for Thanksgiving decor because what am I doing?
Sold out. It's already sold. It's already on clearance because we're 3 weeks away from Thanksgiving. They've already cleared it out. I guarantee you, go to Michael's, go to Joann's. It's going to be all Christmas. You're going to see fall is in the rearview mirror already. It's a shame.
All right.
It's a shame.
2022. I'm going to do it up.
There you go. Well, that's the thing. Go get it on clearance now.
Right.
Save the money, then you get the decorations for next year.
Yeah. Okay. So we told everyone to get their tickets at Nowhere Comedy Club. Also, plug your other stuff. Tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me across all platforms at Jodie Sweetin, and it's JODIE. And then you can also check out my podcast, Never Thought I'd Say This, with my best friend Celia Behar, where we take a really inappropriate look at parenting and mostly our parenting fails. Because we have girls about the same age. And then also you can get tickets at Nowhere Comedy Club for your late night show tonight. I also have a Celebrity Exorcism that was on Tubi, which is Fox's streaming service that just came out, which was really fun because I love the supernatural stuff too. And a few more shows coming out in the spring. So lots of stuff that I've been busy with to look forward to.
Nice. Wonderful. And if you like what you're hearing, please make sure you're subscribed or following or whatever it's called in your app of choice, so you get the automatic downloads of the episodes. And leave us, if you like what you're hearing, also please leave, even if you don't like what you're hearing, leave us a nice comment on Apple Podcasts. It helps out the show, helps people find the show, helps the algorithm. I don't even know, but again, I heard someone else say it and I was like, does it? Okay. Yes.
Sure. Any engagement does.
All engagement. We like all engagement. Follow me on social media at Allison Rosen on Twitter and Instagram. Give my new podcast Upworthy Weekly a listen, please. It's brand new and it comes out on Saturdays. I co-host that with Todd Perry. It's a lighthearted look at the news from the week prior, news that was on Upworthy.com.
I do.
I think you'll. What'd you say?
I do like Upworthy.
Oh, check out Upworthy Weekly, please. Yeah. I already mentioned Patreon. Tony, what about you?
Twitter and Instagram at
Tony Thaxton.
And my podcast, Bizarre Albums, every Tuesday. And I'm assuming this comes out on time since we were talking about her live stream on Friday. On the day before that, Thursday, going to be doing a live stream with Don't Stop or We'll Die again. Don't remember what time off the top of my head, but I just told you the social media stuff. So find the links and all that stuff there. So
Wonderful. Again, Jodie, thank you so much. Listeners, thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Allison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Yeah, Allison Rosen